tonight we've got a cool guest on the show that I'm pumped up about, man. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while. Like, we talk about on the food. I mean, on the show, on the food. We talk about on the show all the time. We talk about a lot of food. We talk about good food. We talk about, like, we love food, right? We're big foodies and stuff. And we also like to try to eat healthy, and we try to stay healthy. You know what I mean? And we talk about eating, more fresh food, right? Whether it be, meats or vegetables or whatever. It's, shopping on the walls of a grocery store, and everything we talk about is not a bunch of. We don't sit here and brag on Pop-Tarts and all the stuff up and down the aisles. We're talking about real food here. So, and we take, health. We all try to work out a little bit, try to take care of ourselves and whatever. So that's something, man, as you get older, it's like it's got to become just a foundational part of your life. But it also can be overwhelming, man, just absolutely mind-blowing, confusing. You walk into a vitamin shop or something, and man, it's like, you don't know what to do in there. You could walk out of there, spend $1,000. You don't even know what the heck you got, So,
yep.
So one of the things I've been wanting to do is bring the person on here with a matching shirt. We did not plan this. Bring someone onto this show that has, like, first of all, is a very dear friend of mine and a fraternity brother, and a very dear friend of JR's and fraternity brother. And that's where we all met at the place where everybody meets, where God reached down and touched the earth at Troy University, Troy State back in the day. That's where we met. But in today's world, like, dude, I reach out to Snyder all the time, and I ask him, for advice on what vitamins to take. This is a guy who's just committed and dedicated for years at research, reading journals, peer-reviewed journals, and he'll send me information on stuff, and then he will back it up as why it works, how it works, and here's where you can go verify the data, and which I love. I love that whole process there. So he's been my go-to guy forever. So I wanted to bring him on here. And dude, let's just break down and keep it simple. I ain't trying to overwhelm everybody with everything. Let's talk about a little bit of nutrition. Let's talk about some supplements that you can take on, like, just some like supplements 101. Get into peptides world, because, there's something there that we're going to get into too, because he's also the founder of Pecure Labs, which is a peptide company. They're your trusted supplier of high quality research peptides. So, anyway, without any further ado, I would love to bring on one of my very good dear friends, Mr. Jonathan Snyder.
Wow. Man, how about
What's
that
up,
introduction?
That is money, dude.
What's up, gentlemen? Glad to be here, fellas. And, looking forward to the show. Love what you guys are doing. I've watched a lot of your shows, and man, it's just, I'm just a tig bit better being on the Tig Bits podcast tonight.
I like it.
Careful.
Be
careful how you say that,
Tigs
Snyder,
Bits
but I like
podcast.
it. You got away with it.
Oh, yeah.
Get it.
Yeah,
It could definitely get away from you. That's for certain. Well,
so like you said, man, I've, my journey in health and fitness has been going on for a long time. And, I'm not trying to be at 47 years old, Randy Macho Man Savage. But I do want to be the best version of Snyder that I can be. Right.
yeah.
So I think a lot of people, that's really what their goal is, like, not really to try to, be anything too over the top, but just try to take care of yourself and, using the knowledge. And man, everything is cascading so fast, just AI is doing a lot. I mean, it can do 10 years worth of research in like 10 minutes.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, it can literally take all these different peptide sequences. For example, you might have 10,000, and it can narrow them down to like 100 or less in just a matter of minutes. And it does that by, limiting, the parameters you're putting there, the pathways and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. But it's just, my point is that everything is moving really fast, and, just knowledge is power. And, if I can help,
Snyder,
listeners with, with anything that I know and have learned over the years and read, love to do that.
What the hell's a peptide?
So what are peptides? Peptides, it's a great question, Tigs, are chains of amino acids. And they are unique in nature, meaning that every peptide is just a series of amino acids. Some of them are very short chains. and they're classified as bioregulators. Others are very long chains. And they have, some of them are like insulin, for example. A lot of people don't know insulin is a peptide. And insulin has the ability to do lots of functions in your body. It's kind of like the janitor with all the keys on his little belt. Has the ability to go in and pretty much for every cell in your body, access it and allow nutrients in and out of the cell. And then you've got, other peptides in nature that are not so good, like snake venom, that's full of peptides.
Oh, actual snake venom.
Yes.
Like snake venom. Yeah, that's peptide.
Absolutely.
But not good. Those are, they still have the keys to the locks, but they're in there to completely wreak havoc.
Yeah, they're letting the prisoners out of the cells.
That's right.
There it is.
They
That's
want
a great analogy. I love these analogies. Yeah,
That's right.
I love
that's
that.
right.
But
Suck it, Chat GPT. Sorry, you couldn't think of that. No way.
but the
gotta
the
live it,
peptide
baby.
world is expanding really fast, and we can kind of get into that a little later. And
this has been around, not to cut you off though, Snyder, but this has been around. The peptide stuff has been around for a while, but it's like you said, with the increase of knowledge and information, it's really gotten more in the mainstream over, what would you say, the last decade maybe?
For sure. Yep. The last, 5 to 10 years, it's really kind of cascaded in terms of, people realizing that there's a lot of different tools they can use out there in the form of peptides to really help, increase their, preventative care on their body, especially as you get older. But, and the most, one of the most beautiful things I just got to say about peptides is versus like synthetic drugs or things that you're going to get from, a lot of modern medicine, is that the side effect profile is very, very limited, because you're just dealing with chains of amino acids, right? I mean, much less in terms of, negative side effects happening. So, it's a beautiful thing, and it's growing really fast. There's roughly, they think there's around 300,000 peptides in existence, in terms of like different chains and stuff. And they've identified about 7,000 of those like in the human body. And they've only synthesized or, figured out the molecular structures and how they work and what they do for about 300 of those. And currently there's about 180 in active clinical trials. So it's, it's expanding.
Yeah. So the advancement of AI, computers, quantum computing, I think is going to probably take it even further. That has allowed you to be able, or everyone to be able to break down these peptides to a molecular level, I guess, in a sense, to know exactly where you want this amino acid to go, what it's supposed to do. And it's almost like you're opening the door and sending a trained dog or whatever to go and attack whatever, or go do whatever it's supposed to do.
That's exactly right. And, some of the dogs can attack multiple things. There's several that have multiple benefits. And then there's others that just have one or two. But you're right. It's just like they kind of roll into the cell and they have basically like a scroll of information and kind of feed it to the cell, and the cell kind of follows what the peptide's directions are.
Kind of looking at that, we're talking about in the last 5 or 10 years, it's starting to come into more, especially, honestly, the bodybuilding world has been way more on the advanced side of peptides probably than anybody to talk 5 or 10 years ago. But in the last couple of years, it's some of the weight loss peptides that have really kind of brought a lot of spotlight to it. Can kind of give an idea about that, because some people may not even realize that those are peptides.
So the big two are semaglutide. Well, let me back up. They're classified as GLP-1, which is glucagon-like peptides 1. And semaglutide is a 1-pathway GLP-1. Tirzepatide is a 2-pathway GLP-1. They work through different metabolic pathways in order to basically, they were designed for diabetes, but mainly to control blood sugar levels and to stabilize your insulin. And we're going to talk about insulin a lot because insulin, has kind of taken a back seat over the years, in a lot of different ways, and people are looking at cholesterol and all this other stuff, which now, people have realized, kind of come to the surface that cholesterol is not as important as we once thought it was. As a matter of fact, it's very beneficial. What you have to watch is the bad cholesterol, but really that's about it. But these things stabilize the insulin, and when the insulin gets stabilized, it opens the door, or makes your body in a state to be able to lose weight. You lose your like brain fog. Your cognition goes up. I mean, all the good things that a lot of people are trying to do in the gym for years can happen in just a matter of weeks, just with the use of these peptides.
That's crazy, man. So it's
like
really
me when
like
I quit
this.
drinking.
Yeah, you know what? You're exactly right. It's the same thing as like in my yard, trying to get the pH levels right. I got to get the pH levels right before it's going to be able to accept the nutrients and be able to grow and flourish like it should. It's the exact same thing. It's what you
That's
get
right.
your glucose and your sugars in line and get everything
That's right.
rolling. So
anytime I've ever get myself in fully on, like I'm a big carnivore dude, and ketosis kind of like not Atkins. When I'm on it, and I live it. Man, when I get into ketosis after that brain fog and all that goes away after about a week, I feel so much better. But basically what you're saying is that you can have something that will put you into that state
Yes.
permanently without having to like get in that state.
Without having to fast
works.
or do the carnivore, which you're smart man for doing the carnivore diet. That's typically what I trend to. And, you ask, 3 different people that are supposedly gurus on nutrition, and you'll get 3 different answers, right? You'll have some people that adhere to the, vegetarian or vegan and all that stuff. And, you'll have some people that say, well, just a good, balanced diet. Really carnivore and healthy fats are where it's at. But there's, a couple key things on the carnivore side of things you got to look at too. Like, you really want to trend towards the grass-fed beef, and grass-finished beef, because the molecular, getting back to the molecular structures, of beef that has not been fed grain is healthier and absorbs better in your body, and provides better nutrients. I mean, everything. It has higher vitamin K2, B vitamins, D3. The list is long, just from them eating grass versus eating feed, right? And for years, a lot of these farmers have, chose the feed route because it's the cheap way to get the cows, big, to grow them.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the same with butter. You want to use butter that's like Kerrygold, for example. It's a great brand. That's grass fed.
I love Kerrygold butter.
Ain't it awesome?
Good. It is good. It's money.
Not only is it healthy, it tastes.
Really.
It tastes amazing.
It tastes way better than any other butter that is out there, and it's actually better for you.
Better for you. Imagine that.
It is.
Yeah.
So outside of like some of the weight loss, which brought the spotlight in peptides, we'll kind of wrap up on peptides and move on there in a minute. But like I do want to talk about these more. Like, there's some other peptides here recently. Like, give me a couple of more basic, like ones that people can have access today, and some other benefits outside of weight loss, which is tremendous. So many people around you right now that you don't even realize that are taking these, and that's why they look so dang good right now.
Yeah.
And that's why they feel so good, and that's what they're doing. So, but what are some other ones that you can take that are accessible to people? Like, kind of just walk us down the pathway of a couple of those.
So, a couple of the more popular ones that offer a plethora of benefits are BPC 157, which is body protective compound 157. You make it in your gastric juice in your stomach. And so it's natural to your body. And it actually starts decreasing, like all the good hormones do, somewhere around mid to late 20s, like starts pretty early. And it has the ability to work on just about every cell in the body, and tendons and ligaments included, which is pretty amazing, to be able to heal those structures, and it heals them very well. It'll lower the pain that people are having, like, as we get older, all these aches and pains that you're having, like tendonitis and, all this stuff in shoulders and elbows and, and just different stuff as you age.
The BS of getting older. Let's call it what it is.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm in day 5.
That's what I was going to say, Blasey.
I'm in day 5 in my shoulder, which I ruined arm wrestling. And I went out 2 Saturdays ago, was punting football and throwing. I threw a football one time and I hadn't thrown it. And my God, it was like somebody stabbed a knife in my shoulder. I was like, I got to do something. So I'm on day 5 now of doing my injections. And I mean, I don't know. I haven't thrown a football or anything, but I know it takes a couple of weeks. And we're going to see though, man. Like, but right now as I sit here, well, I mean, I don't get too crazy, but I tell you what, I feel pretty dang good. So, but I'm not throwing a football yet, but I'm totally on board with this, and I've seen Joe Rogan talking about it. You know what I mean? He's used it. I know he gave an example one time. We had tendonitis in his arm, been bothering forever. And after 10 days of that, dude, he was done. He was money.
It's pretty amazing. There is no miracle cure. I don't care what it is, but
it's not a panacea.
But these compounds work incredibly effective. And, the beautiful thing is you're not just masking like the symptoms of whatever is causing the pain. You're not just getting a cortisone shot or taking different anti-inflammatories that are just going to work, but nothing is really helping to get it back normal, right? Nothing is really working to heal it.
You're just patching it.
That's right.
You're just patching it.
So it's just masking it, right? And BPC is actively repairing these structures, and like Blasey said, like in a couple weeks, usually there's less pain, less inflammation. I mean, pretty noticeable effects, like pretty fast. So, I mean, it's awesome. And another one that's right there with BPC 157 is one called TB500, which is thymosin beta 4. Works a lot like BPC 157, just a little different in the pathways that it works on, but those two together are a dynamic duo. They work.
Really like taking them together.
Yeah, they pair really well. And there's just simple Google search will show you all the benefits of it. There's really too many to list, but there's a lot.
And one other thing, not to get too far down the rabbit hole, because those are things that are accessible today. And I think we've talked about this too. The safety profile on those things it's tremendous too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there is this other little category of a smaller. So those are a little bit longer blockchain amino acids. The smaller ones, like in the 3 and 4 range, that can go like intracellular into the cell, and those are called what now?
Those are bioregulators.
Like, just hit on that a minute. That's the craziness to me of what's coming and what can be done in the future, right?
So like you said, they're usually smaller, like grouped up groups of small chains of peptides, and they work very similar to the like normal peptides, but like you said, they can actually bypass the cell membrane and go in there and start kind of making things better. A lot of them work on like mitochondria, like regeneration. And the more we kind of going down the rabbit hole on aging and things like that, what a lot of the experts are finding is that the mitochondria is half of the reason that we age, if not more, because we lose them over time and we also damage them over time. And I don't know if you guys have heard of like the NAD+. I don't know if you've seen that or read about that.
I've seen it, from the IV drip bars and stuff. You can get that.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So it's very popular because it's a mitochondrial regenerator, and there's several of those out now. There's MOTS-C, there's SS31. There is a liquid form of compound called methylene blue, and all these work through different pathways, basically for the same goal. But the more mitochondria you have, the better it does on everything in your body. I mean, getting rid of toxins that could potentially stack up and cause cancer over time. It provides you a ton more energy. And people love that effect. And clears the brain fog, makes your sleep better. I mean, it just kind of dials you in.
That whole pathway, like you talked about the other day, there's a guy that said that that he's on the edge of curing aging, and that just kind of down that pathway just kind of gets crazy to me.
David Sinclair, he's like the he's over the genetics division at Harvard. So, I listen to him when he speaks, and he's been on Huberman a few times. I mean, the dude is crazy, insane smart, and they've had like mice that they've used 2 or 3 different compounds on, and they're working on something called the senescent cells, which they realize is another part of aging. And so what they're doing is they're basically lowering the level of these senescent cells through different compounds. And in rats, they've already done this. They had some older rats. They gave these compounds to, reversed basically the equivalent of human years by about 20 years. They were gray before they started. I mean, just incredible. Sounds like, science fiction, but
that's crazy
happening now.
I mean, to me, it sounds like, describing those effects and results you get from some of these compounds reminds me of something like, if you're mixing disco biscuits and Peruvian marching powder. But like you mentioned earlier, the difference is none of the side effects. The same thing if you go, like you say, if you go pharmaceutical and your doctor gets you on this or that. But then there's the list at the end of each time when they show advertisement for one of these products that they're hawking on TV nonstop. You listen to it, and at the end they go the fine print they have to read to tell you what it possibly side effects is longer than the actual ad. And by the end of it, you're like, well, I don't want to bleed out of my eyes and lose my hearing because I don't quite have the pep I used to have.
That's right.
So I think that's what's really people are keying on. Also, just overall information going to the common folks. Everybody's a little more worried about their health. When we were all kids, everybody had a 2-liter Coke, 2-liter Sprite, Kool-Aid with 3 cups of sugar. Give them plenty of sugar on top of your cereal for breakfast. I mean, but we didn't know. It's not our parents' fault. Everybody, the generation before that thought cigarettes would make you healthy, and there was nothing wrong with that. Our grandparents. But now we have the information ourselves. You don't have to just rely on something you heard. You can't read it. You can't find it unless you can ride a horse to a library or ask. I mean, you don't know. There's no way to know these things. But now public knowledge goes through because we're all a big group of social connectivity that's informing each other. So now we know those things are not good. We don't need to suck down 2 liters of Coke all day. We don't, we know not to eat that. We still like the stuff. If you're responsible, sure. All these health things go along with some form of diet, whether it be eating what you always eat, except for just being conscious of what you're eating, and some form of physical activity as much as you can do for whatever shape you're in, that kind of stuff, and what your time allows with work and commitments. But the side effects, it's just gotten so crazy with the food. And now that we know, I think that's another big reason all this is coming to light now. It's because the average person at home, whether it be college, adult, middle age, even older, thinking about the holding back the hands of time, like our good friend of the show, Diamond Dallas Page, is that a lot more people are just conscious of it. And so now you got the public on it. Yeah, you get the public on it that everybody can absorb it together, and it's not something crazy. It's not standoffish at that level now, because there's common things like I know, just first mentioned peptides. I can remember seeing, and I still have collagen peptides. People have been doing that for a long time, mixing them in your smoothies and stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, just basic things. And I think that's the next level too, because that's what I was going to ask was a lot of this stuff. Is there ways to take this like you would take your everyday vitamin? Because that's the thing that seems to scare a lot of people. People don't want to have to go to the doctor to get a shot, take a shot, mixing powders and protein stuff that tastes nasty. It's like Dallas also says, I'm going to do whatever. I'll eat good stuff, but it's also got to taste good. So is there what's the path to all that? Obviously, I know it's getting better, but where are we right now?
So there's a few peptides that you can take like orally, like in a tablet or whatever. But like Blasey said earlier, it's the problem is the size of the molecule. A lot of times, like when you send them through the gut and 2 passes through the liver, they break them down and they don't stay intact. So really, you have to do them sub-Q. Is the best way.
Which is a shot.
That's right.
Like
subcutaneous.
Like an insulin needle.
Small little needle. Nothing needle. Yeah. You don't even feel the damn thing.
Because that's the best way to get all of it in one shot. More so than like a nasal spray or a sublingual. I know they have different things that way with stuff.
Like an eye drop's not bad, but yeah.
I've read all the studies on the nasal sprays and all that, and the absorption rate just is not there. It's nowhere near as high as the sub-Q.
But if they make the sub-Q in a easy, compact, boom, it's not no measuring, no none of that.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah.
Do they make that now currently?
It's on the way. Well, a lot of people will.
See, I'm only a year behind talking to you guys, and that's how far the evolution has been since we talked a year ago about this. You remember when you were over this way?
Oh, yeah.
And
so it's moving
that's
fast.
how fast it moves really fast because I'm all about it. I'll do whatever, And
this is the tip of the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg, JR. I mean, you're over the next 5-10 years. I mean, the problem is the pharmaceutical companies hate it, because this is going to replace a lot of synthetic medication, right?
Cutting their money, absolutely.
And I don't think there's ever been a bigger time in America where people are kind of waking up and realizing, hey, all this BS we've been fed over the years, ain't working. I mean, it's pretty much failed. I mean, what have we actually cured?
Exactly.
Not much.
Yeah.
Why would they cure a $1 trillion industry when it's, diabetes or cancer?
I said that about when they asked, and not to go on, and I'm not a political type guy, but when we were figuring out stuff to do during the pandemic, I'm like, why are we listening to these people? We have just been getting worse for the last 50 years. It's like we're not getting better. Yeah. Everybody's on 1 million pills. Everybody looks worse, feels worse. I mean, it's
crazy. And Snyder and I were talking about this before. It's I'll say this, and I have to, and then we're going to move on into a little bit the vitamins. I'll say this. So Snyder's on here. We're talking about this, and we're educating. We're talking about peptides and the opportunity how you can access them now, and you can get them through compounding labs and places. But they're still in a research category, so it's such a gray area. The world that I live in is such a gray area. I can't even talk about it at all. But like RFK is about to change some of that even more for us, where we can have conversations and open dialogue. It's sad that I can't even talk about really what I do.
Right.
It's just the rules of engagement. Right. It's just where I'm at. So, but kind of moving into something else, Snyder, I wanted to get to before we got out of this. Mm-hmm. It's like some of the things of the peptide world, man. It's so cool. So I think it's just fascinating if you just kind of go down the rabbit hole and check out some of that. So I appreciate you kind of giving us the 1,000-foot overview of that, but. Looking at your everyday life, like if you're right now, like if you're somebody, man, like we all eat the best we can, but man, it's so hard to eat. First of all, from a cost standpoint, it's ridiculous. If you got a chef and all this, you can get all your nutrients and everything's perfect. But for the average bear out there, man, you're just doing the best you can. You're trying to eat decent, but man, at the end of the day, you're just not getting what you need, like from a nutrient standpoint. So let's talk about like some supplements and like help some people understand, like if I'm a guy out there, like I don't really take anything, maybe I'd take a multivitamin or something. I just don't know what to do. Like what are 4 or 5, 6, like something supplements that you should have in your diet today?
Absolutely. That's a great question.
Time out before you answer that question. Yep. John Costica just paid us $50 on Venmo in the middle of a recording, not even live. John Costica. He gets a shout out in the middle of a recorded show.
Yes, he does.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Anyway, go ahead, Snyder. Sorry.
That's a great question, man. And like you said, it's living in this day and age. I mean, who the hell has time to eat perfect? I mean, I don't, and I don't know many people that do. I mean, if you got a chef that's going to make you 3 or 4 meals a day, more power to you. But most most people that are working,
you're not really you're on a good path at that point. You're not really worried about some of the more common concerns that most folks like us have.
You've made it. I mean, most people's decision on the way home as far as what is it going to be Dairy Queen or McDonald's? I mean, it's
or what's in the freezer, and are we going to hit the air fryer?
That's
we
right.
got some nuggets and some instant mashed potatoes. That's going to be a good one.
That's right. So there's there's a lot of nutritional deficiencies that pop up. So I always kind of like to take a foundational approach in terms of what are like maybe the top 5, because you don't want to have to take 1 million pills either, right? I mean that becomes kind of a pain in the ass as well. So bottom line, I got a few that I'd like to share and why, and really which ones to look for. So, number 1 would be a multivitamin. Good old, tried and true multivitamin, but not necessarily the pills. I found that the liquid whole food multivitamins seem to work the best because you assimilate those so much better in your body. And they go to where they need to go in the body, and they've got technology now that they can micronize, these nutrients and make them much more available and like much healthy. I mean, it's just a much healthier choice. Actually, no affiliation
Step up from
with
the Flintstones.
No affiliation with this company, but this is one of the better ones I found. It's Source
Where
of
do you
Life.
get that at?
This one, you can get on Amazon. You can get it pretty much anywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
But lots of good stuff on there. And,
Do you
just
mix
like,
it or drink it straight?
Just drink it straight, like a shot.
Does it got a taste to it, a flavor?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Is it not?
I mean, I'll put it like this.
Cherry
Works
flavor
good for you, JR.
No. It's really not bad at all.
Flavor.
I mean, it's good. I mean, if I
okay,
compared to a lot of other health stuff I've had, it's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's just
well,
a shot,
I know
though.
you're
If you can do a shot of Jameson, or you can do it. You can do a shot of Goldschlager. You can do a shot of dang Jägermeister. I think you can do a shot of some vitamins.
That's right. Yeah, much better than
It's
either
a
one
shot.
of those. But,
Yeah, it's a shot.
But you absorb them better. You get tons of stuff on there. They've started adding a lot of the ones that are getting a lot of research and in the limelight right now, like resveratrol. A lot of the more powerful antioxidants.
Yeah.
Plus, you get all your greens in there. I mean, I don't eat enough greens, etc. So you get a pretty broad spectrum of like goodness in just a small amount every day.
Rogan harps on those greens, and one of those products that he pimps a lot. So this thing has that in it.
It does.
It has some of those good greens in it.
It absolutely does. It's got several different blends. But yeah, it's got an antioxidant blend. It's got a Whole Foods greens blend.
What is the name of it again? Let's go over the name because somebody's
Source
going
of
to
Life.
ask.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I ought to be getting
Nature's Plus source of I can barely Nature's
Sauce
Plus
of
Sauce
We're
of
thinking
Life.
about some gravy over
source
there.
of lof. I can't talk.
Source of Life. Yes. An important footnote on all these vitamins and all these supplements that we're going to talk about. They're not regulated by the FDA, but I'm going to tell you the ones that are manufactured in a GMP facility are going to be your better choices.
Good manufacturing practices.
That's right, because they have
That's what
much
that means. Okay.
more stringent, regulatory requirements, and they have to have better, equipment that meets
Absolutely.
standards. It has to be, they have to be certified every year. Just
The FDA actually uses those guys to set up their own guidelines.
So
Yep.
whenever you go, let's just say you're on Amazon, it will have GMP when it's talking about the company in that information. Okay. Or there's not just Amazon. I mean, there's Lucky Vitamin. There's a ton of like great vitamin sites out there, but it will always disclose it.
Okay.
So make
because
sure
those
to look
guys
out
pay
for that for sure.
They pay a
What
lot
else?
to get that certification. Yeah.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. It's tremendous, and that's the same thing. We go through that. But
Yes, sir.
what else you got here?
All right.
I'm excited.
Number
I
2
got
on the
my list
list would definitely be omega-3s.
Yeah.
And man,
You got me on those.
again, the benefits of omegas are I mean, there's 20, 30, just instant, benefits that, you could name for these. But the main 2 things is that it keeps your heart, your arteries flexible, and more permeable. And it makes your whole vascular system much in just much better shape. It lowers triglycerides. I mean, it's good for blood clotting. Lowers the risk of clots. It just has a plethora of benefits, and they're the one that is, I think, that works the best from all of the, in most of the blue ribbon journals and things like that I read is krill oil. Cold water krill oil.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that they are in a phospholipid form. Phospholipids absorb in your body way better than just regular fish oil. So, and you can high dose this stuff. They're not toxic at any levels. Most people take, people that like biohackers typically take 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day of this stuff.
Wow.
And it's because it works. It does a lot. It's good for inflammation. It's good for your arteries. rheumatoid arthritis sufferers even talk about how well it works for them. Macular degeneration.
I take it daily. You got me on that regimen. So
yeah. Dude, it's awesome. Even like fatty liver disease, things like that, it works on that. In terms of being able to clear out the fatty deposits.
Is that a gel tab capsule or is that a liquid as well?
So this is one I got off Amazon, and it's let's see.
But it's like a gel tab. It's all like the liquid's on the inside, right?
Yep.
Is that Antarctic
krill oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
2,000 milligrams, and they're just small little tabs. They are. You ask. Oops, if I can see that or not, but yeah.
Copy. Yeah. That's kind of like
you can handle that.
The vitamin D3 I take every day is in a form like that.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the liquid form like that you're going to absorb it better.
So any kind of vitamin, if you can get it in the little gel tabs, better, right? At least that.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's proven in a lot of studies. There's a lot of reasons why. I won't bore you with the details, but liquid is better.
Copy.
And if you look for on this one, let's see. Can you see the little GMP logo right there?
I see it.
Yep.
With 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that it? No, there it is. GMP.
That's what you need to be looking for.
Yep.
Of course,
with a check mark.
If you're listening to this on the Bubba Army exclusive, you're not able to see that, but you need to be looking for that little symbol you're watching this on right now, TV, of course.
It is.
That.
GMP certified there.
It matters, and it
does matter.
It's pretty much true to label. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember a while back, there was a company, I think it was at Walmart or something, that none of their stuff tested out to label. And
I do remember that. Yeah.
Remember? And none of their stuff obviously was GMP. So that's why it's important.
Yeah, you go save a few bucks at Walmart and get some garbage, and you're taking garbage, which is defeating the whole purpose of the exercise.
That's
right. Make sure you
I'm going to throw all my vitamins away.
I mean, you might as well. All right, so what's number 3 on here? Let's keep this train rolling. So, I'm excited.
This one, the next one is a pretty dynamic duo. It's vitamin D3 with K2.
Boom.
And D3 obviously is what sunlight converts to in your skin, and 90% of America probably doesn't get enough of it. Especially in the States where it's always cloudy, raining, whatever. Yeah. They don't get the right cold, whatever, right temperature. So I mean it's great to supplement with D3. It's good for bone health, lung function. It helps you absorb calcium. The list is long, but it's responsible for over 500 different reactions in your body.
Wow!
Just that one.
Wow!
I think I'm right on this. They said a lot of the problems with the COVID virus, a lot of people with deficiencies in D vitamins, it hit really hard.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That
you got to think when we went from an agricultural civil society to an industrial society. Everybody went from being outside all day to being inside all day. Not everybody, but
that's right. Everybody went to being in the last 100 years. Everybody went into air conditioning in a cubicle, right? And before that, it was true. People working outside.
That's when that early morning sunshine. We talked about that the other day too. I get up and I get that early morning sunshine coming in the eyes. It's so important to really get the body triggered and get everything rolling to release the cortisol early in the day in the body. It's like so important in your just everything in your full routine. And I'm a big believer in it.
Every single day, I go on a walk and I go early in the morning, not long after I've waken up, and there's a sunrise. Not enough to get a sunburn or anything like that. Not 10 or 11. Early, 7 o'clock, whatever.
Yeah, that's great.
Those are the rays you want.
My whole day is just so much better the rest of the day, and it has to be because of that.
I'm telling you,
it really does.
Those, I mean, you may not think it's doing much, but the studies prove it. It's doing a lot. And I mean, for everything in terms of just overall health. I mean, your skin health, your cognitive ability. It's even so. There's a few studies out of Japan now that show they're getting buried by the farm companies, but that where people have used red light therapy, which is essentially what red light therapy mimics, is the first rays in the morning, and they've completely cured their macular degeneration in older patients.
Wow!
And that's with the red light therapy.
Red light therapy.
Right?
Yes.
That's crazy, man. That's wild. That is unbelievable.
And not to mention your spiritual well-being, which is ultimately most important, man. You get out there.
I think that's probably the biggest
thing.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely is.
Absolutely.
So what does the K2 do, like in conjunction? Because there's a balance there between those two. It's important that they're together. Can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. So think of they work really well together because they both have effects on calcium is probably the main one. K2 has the ability to go around and clean your blood up. In other words, like everything, all the calcium deposits that haven't made it where they need to go, and or the ones that have gotten stuck in your arteries, it has the ability to take those out little by little and put them where they need to go, which is in your bones and your teeth. And it does it really effectively. There's two different versions or forms of K2. There's MK4 and MK7, and MK7 is the newest and best version of that. So if you're going to go out and look for it or buy some, make sure it's the MK.
Sure you have that.
Yes, sir.
And the one side effect they say from D3, like people are concerned if you take too much, it's like, well, it could create some calcium buildup in the arteries, and that's the great news about taking K2 because it's taking care of that problem. If you're hitting that threshold, it's extracting it out, putting it where it's supposed to be. So now
That's right.
you're balancing each other out, right?
That's right, and that's why they work so well together. But D3, man, 15,000, IUs, no problem. No problem. A lot of times people take up to 50,000.
Wow, a day?
Yeah.
What do you take a day?
I take about 20,000.
God, do you really?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm way behind. See, I take it, but I don't take that much. I think I'm taking 5,000. But
the only ones you got to know, like if there's like toxic levels of certain things, right? You wouldn't do that with like some of the metals, like the trace minerals, like copper and zinc, magnesium, because those will build, or iron, for God's sake,
build up in the body,
build up in the blood and cause all kinds of toxicity problems. But on the ones that are usually like water soluble, especially, but a lot of them are fat soluble. Like you can take these things, and the amount that you take matters because it has much more profound effects if you read like through the research than in lower doses.
Wow. Do you have a recommendation that we can take on the D3 and the K2, like a brand that you take? Do you take a combo one, or do you take two separate ones? Because I take two separate ones.
This is a great company. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this guy, Dr. Berg. Actually, this is not Dr. Berg. This is another GMP lab. But anyway, really, as long as it's GMP.
Yeah. So you do the combo deal.
That's right.
Vitamin K2 plus D3.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So that combo.
And I don't know if you can kind of see the amounts there, but I take additional. This one says, let's see, it's 5,000 IUs of D3, and it's basically 100 micrograms of K2. But if you look really close, you see where it says, let's see, what does it say at the bottom?
I don't know. Tell us.
MK as MK7.
MK7.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the version.
90 of that.
Okay.
That's interesting. You say the amount of stuff you take is crucial because obviously there are some things that your body then you just pass through your body through your bodily fluids or whatever you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then some stuff can obviously cause toxicity. I was talking to a IV therapist up in Delaware last summer. We had I think it was actually one of the band or crew guys was feeling down, so we got him some IVs, and we got to talking because I'm very interested in health stuff, and she was saying vitamin C therapy she has been doing with stuff, and it was her or her mother or someone had a bad diagnosis with a big problem. Vitamin C therapy, high dose of intravenous or IV vitamin C, and it's gone, this and that. And she said most people aren't talking about it yet, but she said there are some big things going to happen with vitamin C soon too.
And man, I've read some research and studies about that, and it's true, man. From what I gather, vitamin C.
This lady got no help from her doctor, so she was an IV person anyway. Had done her own research, did it to herself, I think was the deal, and like kidney or whatever it was is fine now, or it might have been cancer. It was something crazy. And she vitamin C'd her way through it, high doses.
Man, there's a lot of power, like I said, in a lot of natural compounds, and
it's got to be, y'all. Think about it. Back in the day, we didn't have any of these inventions. You went and ate something, or you chewed up a root, or you mixed a root with a this or that. You did something Really? I mean, really, what would we do back then if they were sick? Find them some oranges
absolutely.
or something, or get them some citrus,
Absolutely.
get them this kind of flour to chew on, make this tea out of this herb that we find in the forest or whatever.
Well, that's even like way back in the day when they kill an animal, they were eating the organs first, the muscle was secondary. You know what I mean?
Because you're getting the iron and all the good vitamins. You get all the good vitamins out of the liver and stuff. Absolutely, the heart, all that.
Tons of good, nutrients. I mean, there are a lot of good nutrients in all the organs.
Now, outside of K2 and D3, is there another one as we kind of wrap this thing up here?
Yeah. So, let's see. The last two I had listed were, so magnesium. Everybody's heard of it. There's a lot of different forms of magnesium.
Yeah.
And, I don't really, it's hard to say, well, this one's better than that one. And they all absorb differently. I mean, is that fair enough?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, one of the best things that people can do that, a lot of people, over half the country is deficient in magnesium. And if you ever have like a dark chocolate craving, that usually means that you're possibly low in magnesium. Your body will crave certain foods.
I'm definitely low then.
Dark chocolate's actually awesome for you, full of antioxidants.
Yeah. That's my go-to snack, dark chocolate and almonds, man.
Oh, that's so good.
That's solid right there, buddy. But
it is solid.
So magnesium, well, back to my point I was trying to make was a lot of people will say, well, I took an Epsom salt bath and I feel incredible. Have you ever had, the Epsom salt that people
on
put
the
in
reg? Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
On the reg.
Man,
yeah.
And it's because of the magnesium that's absorbing through your skin.
I'll be dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
that's what makes you feel better.
That's right.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know what the quality was there. So
I mean,
When you're
I got to add
nothing is
magnesium because
better
I don't
than
take
one of those.
I don't take magnesium currently, so I need to add that to the regimen.
I'm adding
Magnesium's
it
a
as
good
well,
one.
Blasey.
Yeah, I'm adding that in there.
Magnesium. I mean,
Because I love an Epsom salt bath and I eat dark chocolate. I've got to be deficient. I mean, that's,
Yep.
you're-
What if
You
you,
do.
take an
Yeah, you're
Epsom
just
salt
craving it,
bath
dude.
while you're eating dark chocolate?
I don't use it. I just usually piddle fart on my phone and play my little video games on my phone or watch
Eating dark
comment on
chocolate
old
in that
videos and
bath.
stuff.
Candles.
But
Give me some candles, some rose petals, dark chocolate, and a hot tub of Epsom salt.
Oh, my
and I
God.
like my Epsom salt with some essential oils in it to get that effervescence going for my sinuses and all that stuff. I like
Yeah.
the whole
your
boom,
stuff,
bang,
man. I'm
bang.
impressed.
Sounds good.
Hey, as hard as I've run for as long as I've run, it wasn't by mistake. You had to do something
You
to
have
keep the
some
train
hacks?
on the tracks.
I think
Yeah.
most of
You
our
got a
crowd
couple
could
of hacks?
sign up for that.
Still
one,
here.
yeah.
Still
Back
here.
in the day in Nashville, in between the road, I mean, I was at the gym every day, 2 or 3 hours, and I didn't lift nothing. It was basically a spa day. I'm in there swimming, slow rolling me about 20 laps, hit the steam room.
That's that Bonner that Bonner executive workout, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, me and Sparky. Ain't nothing like me and Sparky bebopping up through the downtown Y. He's like, I'm going to hit the elliptical. Yeah, I'm going to go shoot hoops. We just meet back
that's
at
great.
20 for the steam room.
That's awesome.
Dude, that sauna is where it's at, man. I mean, I can't say enough about, getting toxins out of you. That's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Steam room, too.
Sweating. Yep, just sweating.
People-
Finding a way to sweat.
When I stay with
Yeah,
Diamond
sweat it
Dallas
out.
Page, the first thing we do is we make a protein shake. We go straight to the sauna, the infrared sauna.
Yeah.
I don't know how long enough where I'm in there sweating my what off.
Yeah.
And then we go straight from that to a good stretch and then usually hit the hyperbaric and then a workout or vice versa.
That's solid.
And then go and then
God.
this was prior to
That's
cold
amazing.
plunge,
Wow.
but I would go take a hot shower and then he does the cold plunge. I'm trying to get on board with the cold plunge, but I just can't do it
That's
yet.
tough. That's tough. That's
I'm
different.
with you, man. I haven't been able to take the plunge into that just yet. either.
In the cold plunge.
That's but
I did once, and it was
was
tough.
enough?
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah,
How long did you stay?
like 15 seconds, but that was enough. Man. I couldn't catch my
So you
breath.
didn't
I
stay
thought
the
I was
minute and 40 that Diamond Dallas Page did.
He did like half the interview inside of a cold plunge.
It was
know?
unbelievable.
He went
would
from
go
a hot
for
tub to the
minute
cold
40
plunge
and
while still talking and never checked up.
never checked up.
I would've
a
gone,
minute 40 in the cold plunge, a minute 40 in the hot tub.
Get these
He went
arteries
back and
underneath
forth.
here.
I'm like, doesn't this give you a heart attack?
man,
Is this good?
crazy.
I don't know if this is good, but it's good for him.
It's
and that's
great
what
for him.
matters.
rocking.
What rounds out your top five there, Snyder?
Wrapping it up, it would be probiotics and prebiotics. And one of the best places to get those is colostrum. I don't know if you guys are familiar with colostrum, but you probably see the ads all the time for the one Armra, ARMRA. So it has specific types of prebiotics and probiotics, pretty much everything that you need. And it works, I can't say enough about how important GI health is, because it literally is how much immunity you have against anything else. I mean, if you've got an amazing GI, and BPC, by the way, heals like leaky gut and perforations, the peptide I was talking about earlier. Yeah, especially in the upper and lower GI. And if you can get your GI in great shape, you're going to feel a lot better. I mean, it affects your mood and how you think. I mean, everything that bacterial balance that needs to be there is so crucial. So probiotics and prebiotics help basically bring balance to all the flora that's in your bacteria that's in your GI.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's good. You just gave us there's a 5 that can help get your body in line. You know what I mean? Just to help yourself out today.
And these are all things everyone's heard of. It's just
it's very simple.
Now we know what they really are.
Now you know, because you can get lost in there. You start buying stuff you don't even need in that place. And
or watch the advertisements they show. They try to sell you anything, whether you need it or not.
And then taking action to actually do it. That's half of it is just making the decision to start a regimen and staying on it. Right? It's kind of easy to get off course, but I mean, if you say, look, every morning when I get up, I'm going to have, this, bite of breakfast, and then I'm going to take these vitamins. I mean, 5 is not too much. I think that's, reasonable amount for everybody to take. And those are super vitamins. So you're going to get a lot of utility out of.
Well, I was going to say real quick, an easy way to do that is like I've done because I travel a lot is get the pill dividers like you see your grandma have. But put your vitamins there for every day on Sunday. Just stack it up. That way every day or whether or not you take. And see, I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat till after lunch usually. But I eat, and then I know after I'm done eating, I'll go get my little stack, and boom, boom, boom. Everything's good. So for me, and you can call me old if you want, but for me, that's a really effective way to remind myself to make sure to take them, because this week I haven't because I've been busy, and I go in there and I see my stack of vitamins. I'm like, did I take them already? Was that yesterday? So putting them in the little pill divider and that way, if you got to go somewhere, you got an emergency, go to work, got to go help some family, whatever you got to do, just grab your deal and you're set for a week,
That's right.
They don't sell gazillions of those every year because people don't use them, JR. Exactly. I think it's one of those deals. If you're having a little bit of trouble keeping up with the meds that you need to take, it doesn't matter if you're taking 2 or 3. You consider these medicines as well, whatever you want to do. It is a wise thing. I'm about to do it myself because of that exact problem. I can't remember if I took this morning when I ate breakfast or not. And then I'm like, well, crap.
If
Monday's
Monday's
I'll take it tomorrow
gone,
morning, and then you've forgotten, and just start it over again tomorrow. You don't want a double dose. So, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We are of the age now where we need Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday pill boxes, and that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
And if you get on it early enough, though, they're vitamin pill boxes, and you're not going to be handcuffed and chained to the pharmaceutical train that they're going to put you on, which is take this med, and then what you're going to lead to, you're going to need to take this med in order to offset this, side effect from this med to this med to this med to this med. Next thing you know, you're taking 7, 8 medications, which is insane.
And they never tell you once to eat a little better, get outside, do some grounding, stretch, anything like you really need. And I mean, we know if your doctor's your friend, even or a family member, they can't help it. This is the schooling they got from these people who influence.
Well, they got their school early, and their continuing education is through, and it's just a fact of just the nature of the beast. Their continuing education comes through the pharmaceutical industries,
because who can afford it?
medical device. Those are the people that are educating them going forward. That's where they're getting their education.
Because they're the only
from.
ones that can afford to have that plug to pay for it. It's the same ones who the only ones that can pay for enough lobbyists. So why does medicine keep going up? Because they got to pay more for the lobbyists to keep even be able to sell it.
It's all just a circle of money. You know, at the end of the day, that's what it is. The health takes a back seat to the money.
But we're all, as a civilization, we're going to help each other, though, and educate each other and help each other. And people are growing better food now. People are raising better animals for us to have. And people are going to be conscious about it. And this is, I think you're right on a lot of levels, Snyder. This is the tip of the iceberg with a lot of that. We got up there, and now it's about to steamroll.
Absolutely.
That thing's about to come out of the water.
This is the beginning.
Well, man, Snyder, I appreciate you joining us, buddy. Man, this is awesome. This is a good 101. You know what I mean? I knew I wanted to dance
pleasure.
into this space. It can get really complicated. You know what I mean? Get off in some crazy spot, but I think you kept it right on the surface for us. You just kind of explain things to us in very layman's terms that you can understand. It's just simple. All of us have a to-do list. We got 5 items that we need to start adding to our regiment tomorrow, and then look at some of these peptide options as that's something to explore with either with your physician or somebody else, but that those are there and available to you as well. So
absolutely,
man, I appreciate you coming on, good old buddy. We're going to be talking a bunch soon.
Fascinating
stuff.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
This is just the first of several. So we like Lacey says, we've got some homework to do. Everybody.
Yes, we
go
do.
Get these things, start getting yourself in good shape and getting better and feeling better. And
yes,
we'll
I want
circle
everybody
back
to feel
and
good.
talk about how good we're feeling here in a few months.
Absolutely.
I was going to say that I'm going to get with Snyder the next couple of days, go ahead and put me an order in for the stuff I need, and I'm going to start taking it. And as we go down here, every time we have a show again, I explain what I'm
give an update.
And Blasey is on the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give
Snyder,
an update.
tell us.
I've been wanting to get on the BP 157 for several years because I've got the herniated disc, the repaired shoulder, the blah blah blah, and everyone's told me I need to do it. Obviously I listen to Rogan and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
oh man,
so I'm ready.
It's incredible. I'll give you a quick testimony.
Look at them hands moving.
My own testimony, real quick.
I'm doing my Blasey.
My own testimony on BPC started a couple years ago. And within the first couple of weeks, I could tell that like something was happening. And so BPC works both systemic and localized, meaning that you can actually put it in the muscle or in the area that is damaged. And I had a pretty decent rotator cuff tear from the old wrestling days in high school.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we're talking an old injury, 30 years. And that thing would never heal, and it constricted a lot of my movements. I mean, it got to where, if I just slept on the shoulder the wrong way, it absolutely killed me. I just didn't want to move it hardly. Go just like, God. I was like, so I got to do something. So, looking at the options, I mean, it wasn't a tear that was bad enough really for surgery. It was kind of right on the cusp. And I started taking it, and man, 6 months into it, I mean, I could tell it was steadily getting better, and I didn't really want to push it and re-injure it, but I started doing, started just as systematic as I could, doing some light weights, increasing those weights, trying to make it stronger. Now, I mean, after a couple of years of use, I mean, I can go into the gym, knock out 50 dips, and dips used to absolutely.
Oh my God, I can't imagine doing a dip right now.
Oh my,
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
It used to just almost put you in tears, or me in tears, by trying to do dips, and now I can go in there and knock them out with no pain whatsoever. It's just amazing.
So that's a first-hand testimony right there, first-hand story. You did it. I mean, it's working for you currently.
Love it.
That's crazy.
They're just amazing healing compounds, and you're not going to hear a whole lot of this, from from a lot of different docs, just like as we're talking about, because they just haven't been educated on it. And there's a lot of great doctors out there. I've talked to several lately that are self-educating themselves on the peptide world, and the kind of like functional medicine doctors and things like that are really getting into different things, hormone replacement therapy, but everything kind of that we've touched on the show, and because it works and it works well.
It does work,
and
and it moves into the cash pay space. And some people think, oh, that's not what's best for my patients. If the insurance don't cover it, it ain't good. I'm like, no, dude, what they're covering half the time is just like you're having to do 6-7 times a year. Maybe you only have to do this a little bit, and you're actually getting better, and you're and you're healing. Like, so there's this balance, and there's a shift in the mindset to understand, like, hey, you might be better off. And insurance doesn't cover crap hardly anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you only want to use it in case there's like some kind of catastrophic event. It's just not that good on the basic day-to-day medicine. So the best thing to do is find a good functional medicine doctor, somebody who's looking at some of these alternative pathways to like actually treating yourself, man, and keeping yourself stabilized and you know what I mean, and moving in a better direction. So
don't wait for the car to break down.
I can go on and on. It gets crazy. Like it's frustrating a little bit. You beat your head against the wall, like in some of the resistance that you go up against. But then there's so many pathways out there outside of just the traditional, AMA guidelines that you need to really explore and find somebody out there that's willing to look at them.
Absolutely, knowledge is power. I want to show a couple books real quick for people that are interested in reading peptides. This is basically from The Godfather, kind of like off old school. The Godfather.
Peptide Protocols.
This is from William Seeds, and he is probably the most educated in the U.S. for sure on peptides. He offers different courses and seminars, etc. This is a great read for just as an introductory to peptides. That's Peptide Protocols by Dr. William Seeds. And this one is another one that's awesome. It's from Jay Campbell. It is Therapeutic Peptides.
Optimize your health.
That's right.
Optimize your health with therapeutic peptides. And that's by Jay Campbell.
Yes, sir. And this one's solid as well. And the content in both of these, I always look at, what are you actually going to be able to get out of this other than reading a lot of mumbo jumbo that you may not actually be able to apply. Everything that you read in these is applicable to whatever situation, whatever your goals are. It can, it kind of irons out details on specific products, what they do, dosages. Everything.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Well, like Willie Nelson says, there's more old drunks than there are old doctors, so I think I'll have another round.
That's it.
Love you, Schneider. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, brother, for coming on,
man.
Great show.
Cheers,
brother.
Thank you guys for having me.
Fascinating.
Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you,
See
guys.
y'all.